Hi, I'm here with Jeff Meltzer, who's the founder and the president of Applied Ergonomics. And what your company does, Jeff, is you provide, maybe you're better off to say what it is that
Sure,
you provide and
sure.
what you do for your
So
customers.
we design, specify, furnish, and install commercial interiors.
Wow.
So basically furniture, but also everything from flooring to art and lighting and acoustics and all of that stuff. In hand with all kinds of trades on a daily basis.
So very good. So when you get a project, you might take it from kind of soup to nuts. There's the space. This is the kind of layout
Yeah,
and boom.
yeah,
Wow.
we
Wow.
do.
Good. Good. And how long have you been doing this?
Just 33 years.
Yeah, that's like a drop in the bucket. It's like, yeah,
Right.
okay, it's like a lifetime. Yeah. So what got you into it?
Boy, back then I started out doing construction,
Hmm.
and I was doing home renovations actually,
Hmm.
and interest rates came down to 12%, and I was like the only person selling anything, and so just didn't want to stay in that position because I had way too much risk,
Right.
and carrying costs were way too high.
Right.
So I pivoted, went to
Hmm.
work for something that was pioneering ergonomics
Hmm. Hmm.
and learned. This was like almost 40 years ago, and so really learned ergonomics from the beginning of the entire industry and the science.
Right.
When I went into business for myself, I thought the world would catch on to ergonomics like 25 years before it actually did.
Hmm. 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 Sure.
And having been in design and construction, I wanted to move up the food chain. And so we became a full service contract furniture dealer. So it's kind of a roundabout amalgamation of skill sets.
Yeah,
But
but
it's worked
it would make sense to me that it would make you kind of uniquely qualified to understand the construction industry as
exactly.
well as, creating kind of works of art in an office for the people that work there. And
And
did that give you an
safe
edge?
and yeah, and safe and sustainable and all of that,
Mhm.
like way ahead.
Way ahead. So when we say custom, would that be even custom made furniture for the spaces?
So that's a good question. Most of it is not custom made, although
Hmm.
it very often is.
Hmm.
But most everything in our industry is customizable. It's made to order. So
Oh.
the way the furniture industry, the high end furniture,
Hmm.
commercial furniture industry is oriented is that they have raw materials on their shelves and lots and lots and lots of SKUs that their
Hmm.
CNC machines, etc., can get programmed to make.
Right.
So every single detail of a piece of furniture is specified
Hmm.
and made to order to what the client needs.
Very good. Very good. And adjustments for different sizes of spaces and et cetera, right? And have it
It's
all.
all it's yeah. So many of our vendors can literally make things to our spec to the inch, and 35% of what they produce generally is
Okay.
non-standard SKUs,
Hmm.
even when they have thousands of standard SKUs.
Okay. Very good. Now, walk me through the kind of the process. Say I wanted to take on your services. What does that
Sure.
actually look like?
So we start with programming. We start
Hmm.
with really just having deep conversations going through a floor plan. Like
Hmm.
when a customer is considering a new space, before they even sign the lease, a lot of the time, we'll start talking with them
Hmm.
and go through room by room and space by space exactly what they need.
Okay.
And generally speaking, that's the first time they've gone in depth to make sure that the space is going to be programmed the way they need it to be. Even if
Okay.
they've talked with the architect or whomever, generally speaking, it's kind of a revelatory experience to
Really?
go
Wow.
through that process because it is room by room and person by person to make sure that it's going to work for them.
Good.
And then we go through, how to make things fit a budget.
Hmm.
So, and where it's worth putting money into, and where we want to save money, because
Hmm.
almost nobody has limited funds. So even if you've got generous enough budget, you still need to
Hmm.
prioritize. And so then we'll work with multiple of our manufacturers
Hmm.
in each category and
Right.
determine who's the best fit, both on a price basis, but also, frankly, even though things get customized, they very often, one modular system does something better than another system does. And
Right.
you don't necessarily know until you try it.
That makes sense. Now, when you said areas where you wouldn't, I don't know, the word would be, I'd just sub in a word like skimp on what you want. Like if
Mhm.
you look at like, okay, we're going to do this
Well, maybe somebody
project.
wants their conference room to be just, over the top because it's going to be helping them sell product to customers.
Right. So when
Customer
you look at
facing.
like where you wouldn't cut a corner, not to say that's a poorly stated thing, right? Where
That's
you might
okay.
apply maybe a less than what you're envisioning ideal, but fitting within the guy's budget, where would you
Right.
kind of steer the client into selecting the highest quality of these types of pieces, either because of their durability or
It really depends. So that's a good question, and I
Mhm.
want to address that. It's really a function of just letting them tell us what their priorities are
Hmm.
and what their goals are for the space. And a lot of it, most of the time, our clients haven't really fully thought out what their goals are, what they could accomplish with the space.
Mhm.
And so, but you also asked, well, what was it that you've just
You know,
brought?
where you would make sure they get the best of something, and where you might provide a lower price point for other things, and so I guess it would just really depend on the client and
Yeah, it
the
really
source,
does.
right? What
You
they.
actually asked something else that I was planning on addressing. I
Oh
forgot what it
gosh. Oh my God, you're killing me. Okay, so let me kind of jump into some other question here about
was.
like how does it work also with when a client comes in, then you show up, somebody shows up in their office and walks them through this process? Is it mostly done online? How do you
Oh,
steer them
at
through?
what point are you asking? At what point in the process?
When,
After they've come in?
certainly inquiries might, yeah, I would imagine inquiries would occur kind of on the phone, online, or whatever.
Yeah.
But eventually, when they're ready to kind of move into, let's lay out a design to consider, to bid on, do you go there or do you get the specs?
It's interesting. Yeah, absolutely. So it's interesting. Things have changed since COVID.
Yes.
Because the technology has gotten better. So we're able to work really effectively across the country
Yeah.
online because we can be looking at drawings with the client on the same screen and
Nice.
having the full conversation regardless of where they are. So we just
Right.
did a project outside of Philadelphia, and we've got another project coming up in Denver, and we've worked
Hmm.
in Phoenix and Miami and across the country. What we need to do is we have established relationships with professional installation companies
Hmm.
that work in these markets,
Hmm.
and we're able to work with them remote.
That is so perfect. I mean, the convenience factor and also just the economics of flying somebody out for such a thing, and then your zone of delivery is very tight, right? You can't stretch across the
Exactly.
country, right? Feel free to move across the cabin, right? So that's pretty handy. So then what they'll supply the kind of the floor plans, and you start working from that type of information. Is that how it
Yeah,
works? Very
exactly.
good. Very good. So would that be kind of like a builder would kind of give you a layout, or that builder would give it to the client who sends it to you, and
Yeah, it always goes through the client.
through the
And
client,
it's
of course.
usually, it's not necessarily the builder, but the building management or the broker or
Oh,
whomever.
yeah, they would have those things.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay, good. So now, when you look at what's happening in the world today, and you have so many people who work from home and different aspects like that, how has that interfered with your business, or has it really?
Well, it has.
Hmm.
And it's changed how offices are being designed.
Hmm.
I mean, during COVID, you could literally have rolled a bowling ball down LaSalle Street in downtown Chicago and hit anybody.
Yeah. Yes.
So, and a lot of people still want to work from home.
Right.
So it certainly has changed things. It's what we're seeing now is not so much the mandated return to office, but the 2 to 3 day a week in the
Hmm.
office.
Hmm.
And the idea, the goal for design now is to create spaces where people don't necessarily have a full-time desk to go to,
Hmm.
but they have really wonderful amenities and huddle spaces.
Nice.
Again, and this depends on the size of the organization.
Hmm.
Smaller
Hmm.
offices, frankly, are much more working back in the office.
Right.
People
Right.
have permanent spaces,
Hmm.
etc.
Hmm.
In the larger organizations, where footprint is important,
Hmm.
square footage is important. The goals have changed to make it much more a collaborative and inviting space. You simply can't indoctrinate and inculcate
Yes.
corporate culture on teams.
Correct. Yeah.
Can't be as effective with collaborative ideas as you can in person.
Company policy of sorts. It's like, what do they need and want? We'll figure out how to put that together for you. Build it out the way you want it. Told it that completely makes sense. Now, did your company start like locally, where you would go, shake hands, see the place?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did.
When did you make that transition? Was it through COVID when you kind of got bigger?
No, it's been for a long time because so many of our customers have branch offices around the country that we needed to furnish for them. So we've been working across the country for 2 decades.
Okay, so you said you had these customers, and your customer demands kind of got out beyond the confines of where you're located across the country, which leads me to a question. How do you get these customers? How do people find you? How do people hook up with you?
So we've used lead services for years. Track basically people doing searches for our kinds of work. We've also started using a service that has that's using Google Ads and has created landing pages, etc. And we're doing email marketing.
So, and that's been going on for years, I assume?
Yeah.
Good. And then when you get a customer,
but
you
the
say, my customer. Go ahead,
yeah,
please.
the interesting thing about that is that most lead services, and I would think that would be true across most of your trades customers or audience, is the challenge for us has always been that email marketers want to say, well, here's the list of XYZ people. For us, it isn't so much who's the customer as are they in a transition period. They need us when they need us, and they don't need us the rest of the time. So what we've started using is services that track buyer intent so that you can locate people who are actually looking for your services. When that first came out, I subscribed to it. There was a service called Lead Forensics. I don't know if I should say that name out loud, but they unfortunately could tell you who the organization was, but not who there was doing the search. So it could tell you, yeah, IBM is looking for your services. Great.
Okay, good. So were you eventually able to drill down to who's doing the searching?
I dropped using that because it sounded great, but it was useless. There are services now that are able to track the individual at the end to the person. So none of us really wants to hear that our privacy is that impinged, but it is.
It really is. Yeah. So Jeff, my background, I'm a physical therapist by training, right? And I had a client a very large client in Jacksonville, Florida, who had treated women's health and pelvic floor problems and incontinence and postpartum issues and stuff like that. And she was able to find like women who were buying adult diapers between the ages of 40 and 70 and boom, could target those people. And, the difference that makes versus just, just throw an ad out somewhere, right? So I understand targeted ad spend is super smart. And that, of course, has been very successful for you, right? Doing it that way. And then now, what do you take them to then? Do you take them to make a call, lead form, something like that?
Both. It depends. So we have different services that have different
intents. So to speak.
Intense, yeah.
Good. Very good. Very good.
The goal is to talk to them.
That is the goal, right? No one's buying anything until the conversation takes place, right?
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, I understand. So now, when you have somebody that says, I'm interested, I just don't know whether I'm ready to pull the trigger right now, or we're moving in a new location in July, then you just kind of arrange the follow-up. Do you have any automation that actually keeps the guy on the hook, so to speak, with Applied Ergonomics?
That's part of what's being built out, but it has not yet.
Okay. Yeah. Well, sometimes it's handy.
But for serious potential clients, we just have a list. because there aren't
Sure.
that many.
Right, right. Yeah, you look with a lot of trades, if you're like a roofer or somebody like that, you get a lot of leads. And so you usually
Right.
just chase down the guy who's ready to get a roof today, right? Kind of thing. And the other guys could kind of fall behind. But if we, nurture them a little bit, we might get more of them that go from
Yes.
warm to boiling hot, right? And ready to make a move. So, good. Now, when you get customers, do they, I'm sure I mean, what you have on your website is just phenomenal, or like works of art that you guys put together over the years. And when you get a client, what kind of things do you do to keep that client other than delivering exemplary service and a great quality product? Do you have any follow up or,
Yes,
internal
and
referral type of thing that can you recommend
it's
this to
interesting
someone?
because we really don't get a lot of referrals
Yes.
from existing customers to new customers because the odds of the owner of a company or a facility manager or whomever talking with somebody else at the right time and them then remembering who it was that
hmm
they had worked with, etc.
hmm
So that's actually frustratingly low.
For a lot of businesses, it's low.
We get far more repeat from the same customer than we do referrals.
Good, good. It makes sense. It makes sense. It's kind of you did your job. It's kind of expected, kind of thing. If I think of you, I'll do something. Now, do you work to kind of from a PR perspective to get either video from the project completed or any other promotion that you would like the guys give a
We've been
testimonial of this
doing that.
experience?
Yeah, I've got new account execs who are far more social media savvy than I am.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure.
so we've been successfully doing a lot more of that.
Very good. Very good. Sorry, could you say it again? I didn't
There's
hear you.
always room for improvement.
Oh gosh, yeah. I don't think there's a perfect organization that exists truly. There's always something we could do to make it run a little smoother, a little efficiently, make people happier, whatever. All those types of things, right? Now, if we look at like your 30-year history of doing this, right? You do reach an age of something when you do
Mhm.
anything where you don't want to kind of have a number that's too much beyond 25. You ever notice that? It's like if someone says, "How long have you been working with?" And I go, 20 something. I don't want to pick a number too high. But let's say, like, are there any like big success stories that you can think of in your this whole career path with Applied Ergonomics that you think our listeners would be interested in hearing? You can take a
Sure.
moment and think it through for
Um,
half a second. Yeah, you don't have to rush it.
the first year I went into business, actually, we landed $1 million sale, and I didn't realize, oh, that doesn't happen every day. Um, I thought, gee, this will.
Yeah.
So we actually won literally in our first year in business the opportunity to move Boston Chicken's corporate headquarters
Oh
from the
wow.
Chicago area out to a campus
Mhm.
in Golden, Colorado.
Oh wow.
That's a
Wow.
deal.
And it was one in
That's
your
what
first year. Okay, so
I
who closed that? Who closed
literally,
it? Who
yes,
closed it? Who closed it?
me.
Did you close?
But
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. But actually, what's crazy is this is a true story. Anderson Consulting,
hmm
which was part of Arthur Anderson, which
Yeah,
imploded, but
we
Anderson
yep,
Consulting
and Ron, all that. Yep.
and yep, they actually did something that was super smart, which being in the high-end consulting business makes sense. So they
Yep.
said to the furniture manufacturers, we don't believe your marketing. So we're going to take an entire floor of a building, split it into 3 areas, and test and see who we really think is the right fit.
Wow.
Yeah, that was what they
Wow.
did for exactly. It was brilliant. It was brilliant.
So it's 3
And
different companies set something up and then they voted 2 off the island, so to
they
speak.
used it, but they bought it. Anderson Consulting bought the furniture,
Wow.
and they said, we're doing our own test to find out what really works. And so they lived with it. Well, bottom line is their facility people, you asked who closed the sale for me.
Yeah.
Their facility people closed my sale for me because I was representing the manufacturer that they
hmm
liked out of those 3.
I get it. I
And
get
that
it.
was what was into business. Now, you want to hear the really crazy part of that?
Of
2 other
course.
crazy
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah.
One is their management overrode them because they played golf with the guys from Steelcase.
Ah.
So
hmm
Steelcase ended up getting their business, even though that wasn't who their own professionals said they wanted to use.
Right.
And after they moved out of that space, I got another client who it
Mhm.
turned out leased that space. When I went to go measure, I walked in and I was dumbfounded because all of this furniture was still standing on the floor.
They left all the furniture?
They
Wow.
did.
Wow.
They left all the furniture behind.
Unbelievable.
And my client,
Hmm.
who is currently still my client 30 some odd years ago, later,
Nice.
moved into that space. Now we're doing other offices for them in other locations.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I mean,
Because
it's
that's a starting story.
yeah, it's it always starts somewhere, right? I remember when I'm a consultant, right? I was working with a dentist, and I could not close a door. I couldn't sell anything. I didn't know what to do, and I would talk about the whole program and everything that we had to offer, and I just had this. I wasn't able to get the guy to say yes to whatever it was, and so I was talking with this lady, and she says, "Okay, when you enlighten him on the program and how it would work and how it will help his business," and he's nodding his head and he's in agreement. When he says how much and you tell him, don't say a word, because the first one who speaks loses. So if you speak, you're going to lose the sale. If he speaks, he's probably going to lose some money. And I go, okay. And that was very literal, right? So we got up to this certain point and he goes, how much is it? And I told him, and then he just looks at me. And I've already told him what it is and all that. And he just looks at me and I don't say anything. I'm like sweating. I'm thinking I should say something. And then he looks away. Then he looks back at me and I still don't say anything because I'm like, I'm not supposed to say anything. And then he looks away and he looks back. He goes, ooh, that's a lot of money. And I go, and then he says, looks away, looks again, and then he says, I'll have to get into my line of credit. And I go, okay, let's do it. And then he puts his hand out to shake my sweaty hand. And that was my first client. So, yeah, we crawl before we walk, but you didn't even do that. You just kind of knocked it out of the park at the get-go. So well done to you on that.
It was
Super well done.
it was quite the story.
Yeah, yeah. So Jeff, we look at your current operations. Like, are there areas like a bottleneck that you feel like it's a lot of things are going well, but this thing I haven't quite streamlined or made more efficient?
Yes. So the hardest thing for me has been employees.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually
Love
the
them
first headache is your first employee, right? Kind of thing. So yeah.
That was actually not the case, but
Good.
growth.
Good.
Growth has been harder to manage for sure.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of people come, people leave.
Right.
People get hired away. People turn out to not be so great.
Right.
So I would say that the hardest thing for me has been employees, and obviously you can't function without them.
Sure. Is that in the hiring process or the training area or
No,
something
it's
that you
just
put your finger on?
the good news is we have the best crew that we've ever had.
Good.
And I've outsourced our back office, which I didn't know was an option. So that was really a good move.
That's usually a very good move and for many people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got really, really high quality people doing our accounting and order management and all of that stuff.
Good.
We're in the process of building out our own business system and new website. And those are both big undertakings at the same time.
Yeah. When you say business system, what do you mean? What do you mean by that?
I mean we're building out. So the office furniture industry has several accounting systems that are made specifically for it. Because we're also in the e-commerce business, they don't really do that well together. And so we're building out our own system that will make the company more profitable and more saleable.
Right.
Based on knowing what all of the pain points are for running a business. That's been hard though. Needless. Yeah.
So is that a custom build that you're working with?
We're building it in Odoo. I really wanted to have one system. We started out actually thinking that we were going to do it in Zoho. Zoho's accounting turned out to be way too structured towards e-commerce only.
Got it.
And the furniture industry, because you're hearing about all this customization and specialization,
right?
It's really complicated accounting and inventory management. So,
and you want to be able to track by the SKU and color and everything that goes along with that, right?
Every single attribute that's optioned has to be able to be available in the accounting system.
Right. So that each client has like, I don't know if you will, like a blueprint or
Yeah, well,
a
yes.
standard or whatever it is, right?
Right, that's exactly what we do. So our
Good.
drawings are done in smart technology drawing software
Mm-hmm.
that integrates with an integral program that does product specification.
Okay.
So every single detail of each item is called out and fully specified for order management.
Good. Good. What's the timeline on this thing, you think?
Well, we've been at that, both pieces of it for over a year,
Okay.
about
Mm-hmm.
a year and a half,
Mm-hmm.
and we're probably 3 months away from being
Awesome.
ready.
Awesome. That's fantastic. You know, just anything we can think of, technology can work in our favor to streamline operations, but it still has to be fed the data so that it knows what to do, right?
Yeah,
And getting sometimes a lot less than you think, but in that situation, it sounds like there would be a lot of information that we have to put in there to be able to
it's
track
a
it.
lot of finessing.
Sure. Sure, but doable. I can see that. Good. So when you get leads, how much effort and time is spent trying to re-engage leads? Like if you get a lead and you can't get them on the phone, what kind of things do you do?
Question.
Mm-hmm.
It varies.
Yeah. Now, so do you have a sales team, so to speak, that deals
Yeah,
with those things?
we've got two professional business development.
Good. So fantastic. That's all fine.
But as much as we can automate is what we're
Yeah.
attempting to do.
Yeah, you've just seen so many things move a lot smoother. It's like, if you get a lead and you pay to get a lead and the lead comes in and the follow-up is a little bit weak, it's like the tree falls in the woods, doesn't make a sound, right? So, the lead, if it comes in and you never spoke to him, did you really get a lead? That type of thing. So, so there are some nice technologies that could move in that area to hopefully help support. I mean, any sales guy is going to be happier when he's dealing with a hot prospect who's interested
Right, of
in
course.
finding out what you do and how to do it, right? So very, very good. Good. So if you're looking at wanting to provide, to be able to build such a nice business over all of these years and impact so many people and land big opportunities, you're a business owner, right? Say you're doing, I don't know, you're doing $1 million a year. What advice would you give that person so that he could think bigger, achieve bigger?
So don't be afraid of bigger sales.
Right?
It's funny because we had a meeting last week with an architecture firm, and I was speaking with one of the designers, and she said, well, I used to do projects that were 20 or 30,000 square feet, and now I'm only working on projects that are over 1 million square feet.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's where I'm saying to myself, I don't know, we could handle it, but because we haven't, I don't think we could even get the bonding for
Wow. Yeah.
a project quite that big.
Yeah.
But short of that,
Hmm.
don't be afraid to go after bigger clients and bigger
Right.
projects.
Right. Absolutely. Mostly it's like this internal chatter where you go, I
Right,
don't think,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
whatever. And, if you don't stretch, well, you don't achieve much. So, stepping
And just
outside your
try
comfort
to
zone.
stay ahead of the curve because we're going through a period that a lot of people don't even understand. You do because you're in the AI business.
Hmm.
But there's a wave coming
Yes.
that's going to be more like a tsunami.
Yes.
And I think it's going to wipe out a lot of people. Not probably in the trades per se.
No, not in the trades. Mm-mm.
But having said that, commercial real estate is going to get creamed.
Yeah. Yeah.
It already has by COVID, and now it's going to again by AI.
Mhm.
Because I don't know how we're going to keep. I mean, the head of Anthropic the other day was on the
Mhm.
news saying that he thinks that it's possible that in 5 years we could have a 20% unemployment rate.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, and it's an interesting thing too, Jeff, because you're kind of caught in you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, right? You're feeding the Skynet, right? That's going to take over the world, or you get crushed because you didn't lean in, right? It's a tough dilemma, but I think with employees that could be losing their job, so to speak, there's a retraining. right? Like, so we have those kind of people who are in those kind of roles that might be that way. But, the guys that are the ones that have to handshake a deal and build a relationship, and the ones that are actually rolling up their sleeves and installing for you, and you're not going to be able to get at least at this point, a robot to do it for you.
Right, exactly. But I do question what's
Yeah.
going to happen to demand. Not
Right.
job.
Right.
The trades don't have to worry about have their job taken over by AI.
Good.
But we do have to worry about the demand side for those
Right.
services.
That's right. And the personnel, and where will they be working if they're working? Are they working at home or some other environment? Right.
Exactly.
As a company, have you dabbled with, or do you actively deal with any residential projects in this area, like to set up a
Just
high-end office?
our retail business, our e-commerce business tends to be more retail than corporate.
Okay.
It's not the intent,
Mm-hmm.
but that is where that's gone.
Is that an area, Jeff, to lean into to
It
just to
is, and that's
safeguard?
our new website is going to be much more e-commerce oriented.
Very, very smart. Don't want to kind of lean in and tell you anything about what you're doing. You know what you're doing.
Okay.
But I mean, if it starts with a floor plan and you do something similar, just on a different type of scale, I do know people that have through COVID had shifted to work from home, and they just built out this, they tricked out a whole office space, and, they made it like the perfect environment, where before it was, they're in their bedroom, sitting on a chair and a little table, they're like, I'm going to work from home. Let's make this a Shangri-La, right? So there could be even more opportunities there to dig into. You just never know. Absolutely. Well, Jeff, look, I really appreciate you being on the podcast, bringing your insights, the things that you've accomplished. I love that the idea of just thinking bigger, right? Mm-hmm. Just thinking bigger, and leaning into technology, but not letting technology take over. And I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind for all of us, that it's there to support you. It's there to help you. It's help you to run things more efficiently, maybe lower your costs. But if you lose that human touch, that interaction, that customer service, it could be the downfall of civilization as we know it, right?
Correct.
Very good. Well, Jeff, thank you so much. I appreciate you being on the podcast, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Sean.